Hi, I'm Dave Epstein. Welcome to this edition of Growing Wisdom, and today we're talking about problems with hollies. I'm standing before one of my larger hollies. It's in the shade, and I love it because it's a nice winter interest plant. It gets some red berries. There's actually still some red berries on it. Obviously, it's evergreen. It gets nice and large, but this one has bugs. So what this particular holly has is something called scale. And the reason I noticed it had scale was first, not that I saw the bug, but I saw the result of the bug, which is a little bit complicated. So what happens is the bug kind of eats away, the scale eats away and secretes a little bit of what's called a honeydew. And that honeydew gets all over the plant. And so you might first see some sticky stuff on your holly, and that's the honeydew. The next thing that happens is that a mold basically colonizes the honeydew and creates a black soot on the leaves. And that's why I noticed it. I actually noticed the black soot and immediately knew what was the problem. And then I started looking closer and I saw the scale. So this is a hard scale because if you look at this particular scale, you can see a little bit of a shell here. I'm going to use my fingernail. We'll take a little bit off. You can see these little scale bugs here. And these bugs can be smothered by something called a horticultural oil. If you're using horticultural oil, you want to use it during the dormant season, which would be when the plant is not actively growing. So late November, perhaps in March, that would be a good time to apply horticultural oil. Now, there is a growing season horticultural oil if you miss that window. So if you need to apply it when things are growing, like right now, you can apply a regular horticultural oil. It's not a dormant oil, and it can be applied at any time, any season, and that's the good thing about it. So I'm going to apply some of that horticultural oil to this. It will smother the bugs. They will basically die, and then hopefully eventually that sooty mold will begin to fall off as it no longer has anything to eat or survive. You could also wipe it off. You can just take your finger and wipe it off, but obviously that would take forever for me to clean every leaf on this plant. You could try, before you applied the horticultural oil, a little bit of a insecticidal soap or something like that, and that might get some of the sooty mold off. But again, it's pretty stuck on there. I think you're going to have to wait a little while for it to naturally come off. If you go online, you'll see something called Imidacloprid. And Imidacloprid is a systemic that gets into the plant, and then when the scale or other insects go on the plant, it kills the insects. And you might think, wow, that's a great product, and it is a great product. The problem is notice this holly, it's flowering. Those flowers, here's the problem. The flowers will also have a little bit of the imidacloprid inside them. So if a bee comes and pollinates the flowers, it's going to get some of that insecticide. And there's research showing that systemic is causing some problems with insects like bees. So I don't want to use it. Why am I telling you about it? Because you're probably going to read about it, so I might as well tell you why it's bad rather than just let you go find it and you won't understand, well, why wouldn't I use this? That's why I wouldn't use it. It doesn't mean you can't. It doesn't mean that people won't, but that's the reason why it's just a harmful product. And many countries around the world are actually banning that particular product because it is causing problems with bees. So just be aware of it when you do find it. So I'd prefer to use the horticultural oil. It's just a much better product. It's much safer. You want to apply it early in the morning or late in the evening. Don't apply it anytime there's sunshine on your plant because it will burn, because like putting oil on yourself in the sun, you'll get a sunburn. You'll do the same thing to the plant. So you can control the scale, look for it carefully, clean it off, treat it, and hopefully your holly will be fine. For Growing Wisdom, I'm Dave Epstein.